guys, Austin here from abbdrums.com, back with another episode of Study the Greats. So recently Vic Firth put out a video of Danny Carey playing the song Pneuma live, and I'm pretty sure this is the best footage we've ever gotten of Danny playing up close. So all of us Tool fans are pretty stoked about that. And there's a million reaction videos popping up for this now, but in this video, we're actually going to be digging in and trying to deconstruct Danny's playing. And the section we're going to focus on is the breakdown in the middle of the song where Danny shifts into a polymetric environment underneath Adam's guitar solo, which has some really interesting things going on. So let's go ahead and jump in and watch the beginning part of that section, and then we'll head to the kit and see if we can break it down. Before we get started, I just want to point out the fact that Danny plays a gigantic hybrid kit, so it's pretty much impossible to recreate exactly what he's doing, but I've pulled out the old multi-pad here to try and get as close as I can. So over here I have a rototom sound, a tabla sound, and a conga. And over here on the left, I just have an auxiliary snare and a rack tom set up, so I can move back and forth between those two. It's not perfect, but it's as close as I could get. Now, the main concept you need to understand about this entire section is that he's playing a 3-note grouping with the hands and 16th notes over top of a 4/4 structure. And the sticking he starts off with is just right, right, left, and that's split up between the tabla on the right, which I have notated on the high tom there, and the cross stick on the snare. And with the left foot, he's just keeping time underneath by playing all the quarter notes. Now, the tricky thing about this concept is that 3-note grouping continues over the bar line, and it takes 3 full measures before it resolves back on the 1, which is why I consider this a polymetric environment, because it's essentially 3/16 over 4/4. But this is the underlying framework that everything is built on. With that established, the next step is to try and play the bass drum to match Justin's bass line. So let's watch that clip again and pay special attention to the bass and where it falls in relation to the drums. The pattern Justin's playing there on the bass is this. It's a 2-bar phrase, and it's essentially just dotted quarter notes up until beat 3 of the second bar. So if this is your quarter note, 1, 2, 3, 4, doom, 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 doom. So if we isolate the bass drum to match that, it sounds like this. The challenge now is to try and play that underneath the original hand pattern, and this is actually a lot harder than it seems, because in every 2-bar cycle, the bass drum is lining up with a different part of the hand pattern. In the first cycle, it lines up with the first right, in the second cycle, it lines up with the left, and in the third cycle, it lines up with the second right. So yeah, it's hard. Now, he doesn't really play that note for note. He hits some of those kicks here and there, but that gives you the underlying framework for how the bass drum would line up with the bass line. But that doesn't last very long before he eventually shifts to just playing straight quarter notes with a kick to match the left foot, and that just establishes a solid 4 on the floor foundation for him to improvise on top of. Up until this point, he's been playing this simple sticking of right, right, left, but when he starts to move the hands around and explore more of the kit, he eventually changes the hand pattern just a little bit. So let's watch a clip of that again. What he does there is he transitions from right, right, left into a Swiss triplet sticking. And a traditional Swiss triplet is flam right, left, flam right, left, flam right, left. But in this context, he plays it more like a flat flam. So it's more like together, right, left, together, right, left, together, right, left. And at this point, he's also orchestrating both hands around the kit and exploring pretty much every drum that he has. But I'll try to slow down this new sticking pattern for you and then bring it up to speed to try to recreate this environment. From this point on, I think a lot of his orchestration choices are mostly improvised, but one thing I did pick up on is that as this section progresses, he gradually shortens the orchestration cycles with the right hand until the end of that section, and it moves down from a cycle of 5 drums to 4 to 3 and then 2 at the end. So let's watch how that works, and I'll try to notate on screen what I'm talking about. That's pretty interesting, right? By shortening the cycles progressively like that, it's creating the sense that everything is kind of closing in and pressure is being built up that's about to release. That's such a classic Tool thing to do. But it's a good example of how he uses math and numbers creatively to create movement in the song and an emotional shift for the listener. So that's a nice little concept to throw into your bag of compositional tricks. But comment below and let me know what your biggest takeaway from this is, and if you have any other Danny Carey concepts that have inspired you in some way, definitely share that as well, and we can all fanboy out on Danny in the comments. And if you want the notations for this, I'll have that linked below, or you can just head over to the transcriptions page on abbdrums.com and download the free PDF from there. And if you're not a subscriber yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can see all my new videos. But that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.